I did have fun imagining the Terminator movie poster with C-3PO instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Anthony Daniels walking through whatever city it was supposed to be, looking for. I'm sorry, are you Sarah Connor? Oh, I'm sorry to bother you. Go on to the next house.
Yeah.
Hello there. You found the lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from the Star Wars universe. We will be your guides, Tim.
Merry Christmas.
I'm Kyle, and I'm obligated to say hi to you this time. Scott.
See, it worked. We got you to say hi.
And Stuart.
I'm still here. Hold on.
We'll be covering the material up to and including Chapter 14 of Heir to the Empire. Scott, what happened this time?
All right. Story so far. Grand Admiral Thrawn is leading the Imperial remnants from the shadows in a grand plan to destroy the New Republic and reestablish the Galactic Empire. He commands a raid on the Athega system just as Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa Solo, Han Solo, and Chewbacca arrive looking to garner help from Lando Calrissian. During the skirmish, the Imperials make away with the mining equipment, and the Dark Jedi clone commanding Thrawn's fleet, Jeruus Sabaoth, takes the opportunity to make contact with Luke. Thrawn is none too pleased to learn of this contact and plots with Captain Pallaeon to disillusion Sabaoth of his self-importance and impetuousness. Stuart, so what's going on?
So, in this chapter, Lando is distraught after the loss of half his workforce, 51 mole miners stolen during the raid of the last chapter. Han and Leia ask for his help and devise a plan to send Leia to Kashyyyk with Chewbacca, while Han and Lando broadcast a decoy signal giving the illusion that Leia is still on the run. In order to achieve this, and in a violation of his programming, C-3PO has his voice altered to perfectly imitate Leia's.
Ooh.
Luke shares his findings from Dagobah, what Lando identifies as a Beckon Call, a device that summons a slave-ciruit-rigged ship at a moment's notice. He later confides in Leia his true reason for searching that specific location, and tells her about the contact he had during the space battle earlier. She divulges the rumour of Master Sabaoth on Jormark, and while they suspect a trap, Luke is eager for what the opportunity could mean.
Okay, guys, there are two monumentous things in this chapter.
All right, tell us.
The first, Lando in the flesh.
Yes!
The second, and this one is very, very, very important, Chewbacca actually contributes something to a conversation.
He has like 2 or 3 lines in this chapter.
I know, right?
Of course, it's all just him going, "Arr!" But you know, I think he does it like 2 or 3 times.
Let's keep it up. We love seeing an active party member.
Especially somebody who is so active in the movies.
Yeah.
It seems like Chewie will have a lot more to do since it's just going to be him and Leia in the next season, next season, the next few chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
which is going to be a really fun pairing, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they never really got along like in the movies very well, and this time they're going to kind of have to.
That'll be interesting to see how Timothy Zahn deals with that character pairing.
Yeah.
You know, something did occur to me when I was reading this chapter. The 51 mole miners that were taken, were they manned? Did he like abduct the people inside them as well, or were a bunch of people wiped out and then the mole miners were taken?
Oh, that's a good question.
I can't imagine they were just 51 unmanned mole miners that they all swooped up.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I thought the mole miners were people, not machines. I was like, we have creatures the size of TIE fighters, okay? I mean, in Star Wars, I accepted it, yeah.
Like creatures that the little Ugnaughts can like swim inside of or something, like.
They end up doing the Ratatouille type thing of like pulling the hair on top of the moles.
Yeah, pulling the hair, right.
Why do all these mole miners have chef hats on?
They smell like a sewer. I don't know why, but when I think of mole miners, I think of like giant ticks.
I think of the Underminer from the end of Incredibles.
Right.
That's what I also
a good
think
one.
about.
Yeah.
think I was one of the very few people who played the video game of that.
Oh
I
no,
didn't know
I
there
was
was
one of
video.
those. I'm
Oh.
one of them. Yeah, I played it.
I couldn't beat it because I kept getting soft knocked out of a level.
Oh, I beat it.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Was there an actual video game for the mole miner thing, or are you just talking
Mhm.
about the?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Because I
it was
played
like-
the Incredibles video
Well, the
game. I think
Underminer,
it was an
right?
adaptation.
Yep. Yeah.
it was a sequel for the Incredibles video game. It was meant to be a co-op thing where you played as Mr. Incredible and Frozone.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I played the Game Boy version.
I played the PS2 version, so I imagine we had two very different
We
experiences.
probably did. Yeah. I guess the Game Boy version is more stable.
That's right.
Yeah. And no, Scott, I played it on the Game Boy Advance.
Okay.
SP, the best one.
Yeah, I think the OG Game Boy might be a little older than you guys.
Well, I did actually play one of those too.
Did you? Yeah,
Yeah, my parents had one.
I remember the OG Game Boy. I remember playing like the Kirby game.
Kirby's Dream Land.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I actually did play that for NES too, though.
Oh,
That was a
heck
fun
yeah.
Game. I miss that game.
Yeah.
I like the golf one. I can't remember what it's called, but there was
I
a
didn't play
Kirby
the golf.
golf game.
Is there really?
Oh, it's great.
There was a lot of different Kirby random games.
Yeah, but we've yet to have a Kirby Star Wars crossover.
One day.
It's up to us, guys.
What if Kirby sucks up an Asalamiri?
And a Jedi.
Oh.
Really, like,
But can't he just do one at a time?
Yeah, you can only do one at a time.
Yeah.
You have to choose which
only
power
one.
you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like if Kirby did suck up a Yasamiri, then he'd just be unstoppable. He couldn't, like, Jedi can't do
True.
anything against him.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's the only thing holding back the Yasamiri is that they are just lizards and they can't fight.
Isn't part of the Kirby lore like they need to keep him happy or something because he contains an entire universe inside himself, and they're worried that he will swallow this universe as well, or at least
Sounds familiar.
the Kirby Superstar universe.
Yeah,
I love that
sounds
Kirby.
familiar.
Most of the enemies he fights in his games are cute, but the final boss is like, yes, cosmic horrors have come for Kirby once again.
Kirby is a cosmic horror.
Right. He's just pink and cute. Doesn't mean he's not a cosmic horror from beyond.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
That's why he is fighting other cosmic horrors, is because they see him as a threat. They're trying to take him out before he gets them next.
How
Yeah.
horrifying do you think it must be to be sucked inside Kirby?
Oh, I can't imagine
Yeah.
what it's like
Oh,
inside
God.
there.
It must look awful.
It's like it would be an entire pocket dimension that you go into. So
Mhm.
just imagine taking a dive into a bag of holding.
Right. Exactly. That just happens to
That
be
is
like,
scary.
Absathoth's little brother or something.
Do you just spend the rest of your existence there then?
Until somebody chooses to pull you out.
Well, it depends, because like in his games, if you swallow someone, they die. That's killing an
How do you
enemy.
know? Because if
That's
they're
fair.
going into a pocket universe,
Mhm.
I only can assume because he absorbs their essence. So what is left of them?
Yeah.
oh, they're a husk floating through. Dang.
So Kirby is filled with the undead remnants of his fallen enemies.
You just imagine that there's a Kirby the Necromancer kind of game where he's just spitting out all these corpses and he's the lich at the center of this undead army.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh man.
Or he's just like a taxidermist. So he just
His olfactory is going to be within him. He swallowed it long ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so back to Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah,
Chapter
we
14.
got a lot to talk about in this chapter.
More content for the Patreon subscribers.
Well, first off, I think it's weird that they're like, the Wookiee planet is dangerous even for the Wookiees.
I mean,
am
it is.
Well, yeah, wouldn't
is.
it kind of be, because it's always said that the Wookiee species are being heavily used for slavery.
Mm.
I can't imagine there's many left. I imagine that their planet's mostly overrun, like nature taking it back.
Oh, maybe.
Like how many? Like what? Like I wonder what percentage of the Wookiees were left on their planet to just left alone.
That is a
I don't
very
know.
good question.
I got the impression it was still pretty much the Wookiee planet, but
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of sounding insensitive, plenty of slavery has happened in human history that people were sold to and from certain places, heavily Africa. But there are still many more people in Africa today, despite, giant working colonies being exhumed from the continent.
That's true. We do have reproduction.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so it's probably pretty populated. Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, particularly if they're picking the low-hanging fruit of, like, Wookiees that are on beach lands and kind of, like, lowland areas, whereas, if you're in the dense forest, that's probably a lot harder to go in and start, what do we call it? We call it human trafficking, Wookiee trafficking.
Oh,
Yeah. Or like
that was a sad thought.
like
Yeah.
Craigslist Kashyyyk, it's like you go to buy a toaster and like you get swiped.
No.
And they didn't just take the men; they took the women and the children too.
Oh,
Right.
always.
Yeah. But yeah, I was thinking that of course the ecology is dangerous. You go anywhere that's like untamed on Earth, that's pretty dangerous for humans too. So I don't think that Wookiees would be particularly adept at surviving outside of their own, because they are social creatures, right? Most species in Star Wars are social creatures, so nobody's living independently.
Yeah.
Those,
and you're
the
Stuart,
bunker
you're
people.
from Australia, so you're no stranger to animals trying to kill you. So
Oof.
dangerous.
Oh, I felt a lot of stories in that sigh.
I have a particular dislike for ants.
Oh, yeah?
Stuart, can you tell us about drop bears?
Drop
Is it the
bears?
bullet ant, or is it different? The bulldog ant, the bullet ant, or something?
Drop bears are...
Oh yeah, drop bear. You got to cover yourself in Vegemite, and they won't touch you.
No, you gotta rub Vegemite behind your ears.
yeah, that's only for the tourists, though. The native people have a particular smell that makes us immune to drop bears.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to have so much fun looking these up later.
So yeah, it's kind of strange that they would point out the Wookiees and be like, if you're a Wookiee, it's like ride or die kind of culture with the Wookiees. Like nobody's a turncoat, nobody is like kind of questionable. Everybody is faithful towards the Wookiees, and
Sounds like a hotbed for codependency.
yeah. I mean, they do have their like life debts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
maybe they do.
Maybe they're like the predator species and they're just very honorable.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you take any historical allegories for honor-driven societies, those are pretty barbaric and brutal. Imagine they're just a hive of Kratoses and other Spartans in the Wookiee world.
Oof. Yeah.
God of War, but it's just Chewbacca.
Yes. Yes, please.
Yeah.
I love the theory that Han is actually Chewie's dog.
I mean, it does make sense that you would life debt yourself to somebody whose life is much significantly shorter than yours.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll protect you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Chewie just wants to life dead around.
No. I mean, we had the discussion about Yoda as well, being like 900 years old and not really caring for people that only have the lifespan of like 80 years.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, oh, he's dead? Okay, yeah, he was fun. Yeah.
How long do Wookiees live? It's like 400 or 600 years or something?
Ooh, we have to consult.
To the
Consult the source of all Star Wars knowledge.
Yes. and then we have to go to the Legends section.
Oh, do you think it's different?
I'm about to find out.
Why would they retcon the lifetime of a Wookiee?
I don't know. All right, so we'll start with canon.
Mm-hmm.
Average lifespan over 400 standard years.
Oh.
Okay,
Now-
not as long as I was thinking.
Yeah, now let's look at Legends. Still more than 400 standard years, so it's the same.
Okay, cool.
Has nobody actually measured? Because over 400 could be a very big number.
Over 400 could be 4,000.
Wookiees
There are
seem like
many
they'd be-
numbers that exist beyond 400.
yeah. Yeah. I guess it's pretty hard to measure a Wookiee's lifespan.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can keep them in one place.
Right, especially if they outlive everybody who's keeping track.
But,
Yeah. We should get Yoda on this. That's his true purpose.
Yeah.
I wonder what Wookiee art is like.
Oh, I imagine it's very beautiful.
I imagine it's pretty hairy.
Oh, what if they do that thing where they get wads of their hair and then they needle point it like that?
Oh, yeah, that's what I was thinking. They're just there with these fluffy little bunnies or...
Tim got to go kick out of that
That's
one.
disgusting. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Ugh. Can you imagine everything they eat or cook just has to be like full of hair?
Do they shed? Are Wookiees hypoallergenic?
These are the real questions.
Hypoallergenics still shed, don't they?
Someone get George Lucas on the phone right now.
Yes. Yeah. Or the Lucasfilm story.
Humans are hypoallergenic, and we still shed a lot of hair.
It's true. That is true, yeah.
Yep, I'm shedding more and more hair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why I wear the hat now.
And it's a good hat indeed. It does suit you quite well.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, hopefully we'll get to learn more about the Wookiee species in future chapters as we follow
Yeah.
Leia and Chewbacca.
Yeah.
I hope they
looking forward
don't
to
just gloss over it. I do. I do want like a little bit of a slice of life Chewbacca Wookiee story.
Me too.
Slice
I
of
want to
life.
spend some time on Kashyyyk.
I want a chapter where it's just grunts and growls between Wookiees.
If I remember correctly, a lot of it is translated, so we'll get some
Disappointing.
Oh, that's going to be
Anyone.
really interesting to see him ride around with just
Yeah.
Leia there.
Of that.
Because we won't have Han to translate.
Yeah.
So that means there probably is a good chance we're not going to see anything on Kashyyyk then.
Yeah, so I do like in this chapter how Lando uses the word respectable to say that he's running operations, because that was one of the words that kept coming up back when Dravis was accusing Han of moving over to the the New Republic side. You've gone all
Yeah.
respectable.
You've gone respectable.
So that was a nice little tie-in. And then Dravis is also mentioned in this chapter, and we get the first mention of Talon Card.
Right.
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not the
Not
first
name
mention.
drops in this.
Yeah, a lot of name drops in this
Yeah.
one.
Now they can actually have a potential story purpose.
Yeah. I mean, they did pretty well in their introduction of like bargaining with Pallaeon, and Pallaeon
They
was
did.
getting pretty stiff-lipped about him prying into their business.
And
But
yeah,
they've been a little bit nothing burger since then.
I'm excited to see more happen.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that Han, they made a point of like Han not minding Lando being like courtly toward Leia this time.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, why he doesn't care.
They kind of mentioned he didn't really notice it.
Yeah, I think that was,
Like he was distracted.
this
Yeah.
particular time. Yeah, I think he's being distracted.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That whatever's, because we mentioned when he was when they escaped that one with the fake Falcon,
Right.
that he was starting to get paranoid, and as Kyle pointed out, it's not good. Han's not the type to feel like that often, so
hmm
something's got his feathers in a ruffle.
It's going to be really interesting to watch him throughout the rest of this story.
Yeah,
I do really like how his behavior has been like steadily changing
yeah.
throughout.
I'm interested to see the interaction between Lando and Han now.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be because I hope that Lando doesn't get just dropped after
Me
this.
too. We always
Yeah,
love Lando.
Yeah, he's good.
He didn't feel particularly Lando in this. Like there were some certain mannerisms, like the courtliness,
Courtly behavior.
yeah, courtly behavior with Leia, and I liked the sense of his style as also the tame storm cloud that was ruffling behind him, and then he turns around and he's like, "Oh, I'm very sorry. Where are my manners?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we see his true color. You know, he's like cursing under his breath. You know, it's almost like he wanted to just scream. It's like, they took 51, you know, but he doesn't actually get that far. But and then he's like, oh wait, I gotta put on my facade. You know, it's like, oh yeah,
All right.
I like Boss Man Lando though.
Yeah.
too.
He's very suave, very cool.
Yeah.
Very good host. I would like to go to dinner with him.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. But we found out what the object is via Lando as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
some sort of spaceship summoning.
Key fob.
Key fob.
Yeah.
Key fob, yeah.
It summons your car for you.
What's a key fob?
It's a what?
What's a key fob?
It's like the thing that you use to unlock your car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little remote, whatever you want to call it.
This is a bit more than that.
It's like a droid valet system.
But not much more. I mean, even some key fobs start cars for you nowadays.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
Turn your
it just summons you. It did say that it had a limited range, like a planet, like less than planetary.
Yeah.
I would just be clicking that wherever I went.
Right.
It reminds me of that car. I don't know if you guys remember the car that was like there was like some sort of loot box-esque thing where if you were part of it for a certain month, you got sent a little thing, and depending on what color the light was, told you how close to a car that you could unlock was.
Oh.
There was one car that everyone can unlock with this thing, and so you just had to find it, and whoever found it could unlock it. And if someone else who also had it could find it and unlock it.
That sounds like a Mr. Beast kind of challenge.
Well, you have to like fight the person for the car or something.
Yeah.
Like if you unlocked it, do you win the car or whatever?
So like a little scavenger hunt was started to find this car, because anyone who was part of this service and whoever got to it could get it.
Oh dang.
So then everybody has to like.
But
fight
then
to
after
death
you won the
over
car, what stops other people from taking it off you?
Nothing. They could also take it. There was a bit of a controversy because there was a woman who found the car, got it, and then disabled the tracking on it.
Okay.
And it was
That's
like,
funny.
well, which was kind of like, everyone was like, oh, that's kind of a move. It was supposed to be this fun thing for all of us.
No, what car is on the line? Come on.
Oh,
it just like
you're not meant to keep it. It's not like you get the title to the car.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Was it like a zip car or something?
Kind of like, yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
see.
It's not meant to be your car if you find it.
Oh,
Gotcha. It kind of sounded like that.
You just get to like rent it for the day or whatever.
Who fills it up though?
Right.
Everybody's just like kicking the can down the road until
Yeah, and who's paying the insurance?
poor sap's stuck with.
It is some kind of fun though, because you never know when your car's going to be there or not going to be there.
Yeah.
You come out of Costco with your groceries and you're like,
Life's a gamble. But yeah, so basically, what Luke found on Dagobah, it's supposed to be a little device that when you press it, a ship will come to you if you're in the range, and it will either come to you depending on how well it's programmed. It will just fly to you, or sometimes it will like full assault its way to you if need be.
How discriminant is that programming as well?
look at us come crashing through everything.
Yeah, because Lando did say that it would fight its way through enemy ships. And I imagine there would be quite a bit of collateral damage along the way.
It's whoever that ship perceives as a threat, I guess. Which I do think is foreshadowing. I think there is going to be a battle that's going down, and then someone's going to press that button, and they're going to get lucky.
They did mention, like, Han makes this kind of like offhanded comment about some katana fleet, which I think because it's named that it's going to be a plot point later. It seems very MacGuffin-y to say like, oh, there's a fleet of ships that are circuit slaved that droids went for a joyride with or something. Like, that seems to be what's going on.
So we're going to use a Beckon Call to summon all those ships at once at some point.
It'd be fun if it was so advanced that it wasn't just a ship; it was a fleet that was going to come.
Yes. How
Like
cool
at
would
the end
that
of
be?
Rise of Skywalker.
They just
Okay,
hyper
so-
jump into
So the current headcanon for this thing that Luke holds is a Beckon Call for an entire fleet
Yes.
of some long-lost ships.
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Let's go with it. Yeah.
Good
Every
find,
ship.
Luke.
Like a ghost fleet.
I did like the explanation to it being on Dagobah, though, where it's like, yeah, Yoda basically took down a Dark Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
seemed pretty cool. It did kind of like give a little flash into the alternate history of what the Clone Wars might have been
Yeah.
at this
Mhm.
point. And I kind of got the feeling that, like, what if the Clone Wars, because Sabaoth is a clone, right?
Mhm.
What if the
Right.
Clone Wars were clone Jedi or clone Dark Jedi that were assaulting the Jedi or the galaxy or whatever, and it was just like this big messy battle, like like the Pokemon movie where Mewtwo's cloning all the other Pokemon and then having them fight against each other.
Hmm. That's a pretty cool Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see a Gendy Tartakovsky micro series on that concept.
That would be cool.
That would be really cool. Yeah, he would make it really scary too.
Oh yeah, I imagine something like body snatching the Jedi as they're coming onto and then having to fight themselves in some sort of weird mirror.
Oh yeah, it'd be awesome and terrifying. Yeah. But it's like, of course Yoda took down a Dark Jedi. Of course.
Yeah. Do you think it was like some kind of plot that, because it seemed like that's just where Yoda ended up and he just stayed there. So he kind of got word of some insurrection against the Jedi. And after he killed this one and then just decided, okay, I have to stay here.
I didn't consider alternate reasons for Yoda ending up on Dagobah. I was still thinking Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
they
So-
mentioned an interesting point in this chapter that the dark side energies and Yoda's light side energies kind of canceled each other out. So that was kind of like, which I thought was kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
Why he would, like, that's pretty much the point of him going to that location.
Yeah, I did like that explanation as well.
I would like to know when exactly this battle took place. Like, was it during Imperial rule? Or was it during the Clone Wars? Was it before?
Yeah, so there's a I'm trying to find it here in Wikipedia and Legends, but there is a mention of Yoda or another of Yoda's species, but everybody thinks it's Yoda, or it may have been somebody called, but they think that's the same character.
Is the character really named?
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah. Apparently, that was supposed to be Yoda's original name as well.
Oh no.
Yeah, but so apparently he follows this dark Jedi against what his master tells him. The master tells him not to pursue him, and he follows him to Dagobah, and he ends up killing him. And it just so happens that dark Jedi was from Biffash as well. But I get the impression that this takes place far in the past, like probably during his maybe Padawan or Jedi Knight days.
That would make sense.
Yeah, maybe it was kind of like a little bit like it's supposed to rhyme with this kind of reflection when they wrote that piece.
Yeah.
But my impression was that it was during the Clone Wars that this altercation happened, but the technology is pre-Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I imagined it happening during Yoda's exile.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You mean after Revenge of the Sith?
after
you mean?
After whatever episode 3 in this alternate timeline is.
How he got to Dagobah in the first place, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like the Stark Jedi is just escaping bit fash, and then he's on Dagobah, and oh surprise, Yoda's there, and now you're about to get wrecked, son.
I do wonder what the specific logistics was like. So did Yoda fight him in the cave, and then the rest of his stuff just kind of faded away, but the key fob stayed, or did Yoda like kill a guy, take all of his stuff, find a key fob, and say, "What the hell is this?" and chuck it into the cave?
Well,
if you,
I think still that maybe the key fob was something that Yoda had left for Luke.
Okay.
Probably either in his first encounter with the cave or the second encounter in the cave. I'm not sure. But maybe it was his original intention to send Luke into the cave as like his final Jedi test and retrieve the key fob, which he didn't do.
right,
he
not
found
in
it on
episode
this-
5 or 6, but
No.
or 5, I mean, yeah.
But yeah, I think Yoda killed the guy in the cave and looted the body, let it go back to the Earth, and he's placed the key fob, and everything else is like in his hut somewhere, or he destroyed it or something. But the key fob he left is like, okay, maybe one of the Skywalker twins will use this as a final test and put that in the cave for them to retrieve, just as like a, I don't know, maybe just a useless MacGuffin or something. But like, you're going into the cave, you're looking for a thing, come back to me when you find it.
So he hides it like an Easter egg or something.
It implies there would be a ship or something on Dagobah, right? Because the Dark Jedi got there somehow.
What would they need use of this key fob to get a random ship? Because it's kind of a little interesting to me that Yoda would leave something like this behind and not like another way for them to develop their Force abilities. Why would he leave something that can just call a ship and not something that can like, open their mind up to the Force or whatever?
Maybe he felt bad about Luke's X-Wing in the swamp.
I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. That's why I feel like it doesn't necessarily matter what the retrieval item is. It's just the challenge is actually facing whatever the cave throws at you. But you need to face that and then pull out whatever is waiting there for you.
So maybe Yoda just had no idea what it is, and he's like, "Oh, trophy."
Maybe he just throws it over his shoulder, and then he's like,
Then a rat finds it, brings it to the cave,
and then starts
just
Ice
some
Age.
trash,
Yeah, because it has to be a bit of technology, right? Because everything else gets swallowed by the swamp.
Right. Yeah.
So
Right.
that's the only thing that he can leave there for many, many years and expect to still tell them, oh, well, yeah, there is something in the cave waiting for you, and not just like a wooden cup that was eaten like 60 years ago or whatever.
Well, now I feel like the ship is on Dagobah.
Because it has to be within less than a planetary range.
Right. So unless another ship, unless this person had a secondary ship in addition to their fleet that they can call at will.
Unless they just have like a really badass ship that Yoda wanted them to find or something. This is like
Next
the
one,
Ferrari
too.
of starships. You have to find this. It's really cool.
That or the starship's like filled with all these artifacts from the Dark Jedi and or Yoda.
It's just one of those vans that have like wizard painted on the side of it. It's very specifically the painting of Sabayoth doing the lightning.
From the cover of the
Yeah.
original book. Yeah.
The abs. It's the painting of his abs makes the ship go faster.
The more we read this book, the more I'm disappointed that they changed the cover, because like just how
Right.
important Sabayoth is.
Yeah.
Like that original cover, like it has all of the characters there. Like this new cover that we've got is only Luke using his lightsaber, which he hasn't done much of, and a
Right.
very stern looking Thrawn.
It's because the new cover is supposed to be part of the other two. You're supposed to have the other two, and it makes a mural.
The mural.
Also, minimalism is in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, if you like looking in the into the cover page, the only mural that it makes is between the first two, and the last one is entirely separate.
Right. Yeah.
That's obnoxious.
No, that's a good point.
So if they were going to do, oh wait, hold on, there is one starship in the top of that connection that
You
is
see,
between
Stuart,
both.
it all
books.
comes together.
Trust the process.
Yep. Yeah, okay.
Maybe it's the maybe it just calls Yoda's house, because wasn't his house made out of like the drop pod?
That would be hilarious. I would love to see that.
This does all confirm what I suspected before about Luke being completely silent about his time on Dagobah. Like, Dagobah didn't seem to be on anybody's radar until he mentioned it right now, which they all connected to the crazy Bibfash Jedi. And then even Leia, she says, like, oh, am I going to learn where your crazy Jedi boot camp was? So he didn't mention that until this very point in the timeline.
Yeah.
So what do you think they suspected that he was doing in that like 6-month period?
I imagine I don't know, maybe saw it as a missions trip or whatever. It's just like, oh, he was away for a bit. He did
He
a
was
thing.
doing like 1980s exercise montage.
Oh wait, I guess they did know he went through some sort of boot camp, but they didn't know where.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense then.
Probably was a detail they wouldn't consider important.
Yeah.
They were probably more like, oh, yay, we're fighting a war. Luke has better force abilities now. Now he can blow up 2 Death Stars.
Right. Well, he doesn't blow up the second one, but
No.
No, but he has the power to change
he has the
people's
power
hearts.
to, though.
He has the power of love and friendship on his side.
Yes, he
Right.
does. Care Bear stare.
He has the power of the day man.
All right, you guys, I feel really badly for 3PO now.
Yeah.
No one
I know.
ever respects his boundaries.
No.
Granted, he can be pretty uppity, but
Well, his boundaries were installed by like a 10-year-old kid, right? Or do they like update his software like
alternate timeline, Scott.
couple-
Alternate timeline.
Oh, right.
Where is your canon now?
It's all over the place.
I mean, it still could be Vader's handiwork in making 3PO.
It could still, yeah.
I mean, R2 has no direct relation to Vader in this either.
That's true.
But yeah, no, if you've got boundaries, it doesn't matter how what other people think about your boundaries. If that's being trespassed against, he's a sentient being.
Yeah. Droid rights.
Yeah, droid rights, people.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hinted at in our last episode of our last transmission, that R2 has PTSD.
Yes.
Because I think that with all the trespasses against droids, they keep wiping their memories so that they don't have all that kind of. They don't have to deal with droid trauma and droid. They don't need droid therapists to deal with what they're making the droids do. But because R2 hasn't been touched in 38 years or something like that at this point, he's he's just like a ball of anxiety now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you also subscribe to the theory that he's basically the narrator for this whole, everything, if his memory gets wiped, then everything's screwed. But I don't know. I kind of like that idea, but I don't. It's like, where does it end? Like, is he still narrating?
I haven't heard
the
this
books?
theory. So there's a theory that R2 is the narrator.
It's a theory that R2 is recounting the events to the Willis.
Or that's what it is.
At the end of the saga.
The Wills. Yeah.
That's what it is. So then,
Gotcha.
so does that mean he's recounting everything that happens in Heir to the Empire? Is he recounting everything that happens like later, or is it just like the movies that we know of, or what? I don't know, but I do like that idea. I think it's pretty cool.
Was Disney buying Star Wars them altering R2's memory?
I think it does.
Did he foresee that? Did he know that? Did he tell that to the
he?
Wills? Did he tell that to the Wills?
Do the Wills also have legends in canon?
They do now. They do.
Oh yeah, they were in the end of a certain point of view.
That's right.
And it was my least favorite chapter in that book.
They were also mentioned in Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Right, they were. I'm going to have to rewatch that eventually, now that Andor has made it 10 times better.
I'll watch Andor sooner or later. I'll probably watch Andor after I finish Walking Dead.
They, I think, after George Lucas's original 9 nonology is when the recounting is supposed to happen. So you can wipe R2's memory after that, just not before.
Okay.
Because I guess this is the Buddhist. If R2 can't tell a story, did it really happen?
Is R2 a reliable narrator?
That's a good question.
He does some pretty shifty things in the movies.
He does. He does it for the sake of the story, though, to keep it exciting.
Yeah, he's telling the Wills. He's like, yeah, and then I electrocuted that.
R2's just stirring up drama, so he has something more interesting to tell them.
He's like, yeah, then episode 4 rolled around, and suddenly I didn't have my jetpacks anymore.
What if it's for a contest between multiple astromechs for who has the best story to the Wills?
Maybe it's just fan fiction. Just
R2 is his own self-insert into the story of the universe.
No wonder he makes it through everything and is so cool and always gets out of these altercations. But now 3PO is a Terminator. I did have fun imagining the Terminator movie poster with C-3PO instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
And Anthony Daniels walking through whatever city it was supposed to be, looking for. I'm sorry, are you Sarah Connor? Oh, I'm sorry to bother you. Go on to the next house.
Yeah. Man, Anthony Daniels would make a scary Terminator.
Oh, yeah, I could imagine. You could definitely make that happen.
Yeah.
And he gets pretty crazy in Attack of the Clones and the Geonosis, the pit. You know, he's like, die,
He does,
die.
Yeah.
Oh my, what am I saying?
But I do feel like this voice changing is a skill that he probably should have had before.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. So I'm thinking that too.
But it's against his, the ethics of whatever program he was originally gone with.
That pesky programming.
Right. He, just like how he can't say he can't translate Sith.
Morality, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
In KOTOR 2, you have to trick the HK-50 droid into mimicking that guy.
Right.
Because he just won't give it up.
Oh, that's right. They did have that ability. I mean, this is before that, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But even him, he was trying to put up the guise of I'm an ethical protocol droid, not some assassin that it is doesn't have these ethical programmings that are standard across the galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of you talk him in a circle, and then you're allowed to make him violate the supposed programming that he doesn't actually have.
Just once, I would love for a droid to be able to choose their morality and ethics instead of have it given to them.
Although that does beg the question, do any of us?
Stuart. These are stories about space wizards intended for children. Don't make me think.
I would like to think with how my family is, I chose my ethics.
Same.
Yeah. I am a hard consequentialist, so we'll have to talk about this at another time.
Yes. Yeah.
Stuart, why don't you tell me your opinions on last names?
On last names? Oh, God. This is... Because, I did want to bring up how it was interesting that there's no mention of the word Sith in this chapter. And even Vader and Palpatine were being extended under the umbrella of Dark Jedi. And I did a little digging to find out what that was the case. And on Wikipedia, it says that George Lucas was quite secretive about that title and what it actually meant for up until the prequel trilogy. So he was that they were directed in this book and in the media that was being made at the time, that anybody who was a Jedi that used the dark side should be labeled as a dark Jedi.
Right.
So I like how that Sith is still kind of like a kind of secret organization that is something of legends and not of anyone current to the story. And they're like, oh, well, the Dark Jedi of Palpatine and the Dark Jedi of that they were still being maybe propagandized as the fallibility of Jedi.
Yeah, true.
When was Sith first mentioned? Was it in Return of the Jedi?
Well, I remember when I was a kid not realizing that Darth Vader and, we didn't know he was Sidious at the time. I remember not realizing that, they're Sith, because I think I had heard the word Sith right around the time that episode 1 came out.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really put 2 and 2 together until afterwards. I was like, oh yeah, Darth Vader, Sith, duh. He's not just a Dark Jedi. But during the whole original trilogy.
Yeah, so it says here, Sith is something that appeared in rough drafts of Star Wars, and it was used as titles for Darth Vader as Dark Lord of the Sith. But it was only until, and there were some mentions in prior to The Phantom Menace, but I think this was the first, it says the first film to identify characters as Sith on screen. And there is additional footage that shows this, but it says that in the novel series, the Thrawn trilogy, author Timothy Zahn labeled Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine as Dark Jedi, as the meaning of the term Sith had not yet been defined. And so I think that was continued on.
Yeah.
Which I think is quite accurate as well, that for what characters and the universe at large would perceive is these people are just Jedi, but they're dark.
It is kind of cool seeing Dark Jedi being used instead.
Yeah.
I like the vibe it gives for Star Wars. Yeah.
I liked it. Yeah. I don't know. It almost took away a little bit of the mystery knowing that, they're Sith. I don't know. It's just, I liked not realizing that.
It's nice to return to simpler times when we didn't know what the Clone Wars were.
Yeah. But I think then, we've come into an era where Sith is slapped on things a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, it is. Definitely.
Especially font makers.
Scott. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. There are, in our lightsaber hobby, there are quite a few artists who make noises for the lightsabers we make. And they like to use Sith for their artist name a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last point that I'd like to bring up is that Leia seems to have some sort of knowledge about who Sabayoth, the original Sabayoth, possibly was, because she notes that Sabayoth had a power and history. So, but Wedge didn't seem to know, so that makes me think that he was quite a political figure, possibly, but not necessarily one of public knowledge.
Yeah, I still think it's a little unusual that her and Wedge knew about it. Luke didn't, but they're also still, I know we talked about this, I think, at one point, but they're still using his clone name, Cheruis, unless that's just for the sake of the reader. But
well, Leia referred to him as Joris.
Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Did she?
I noticed that. Yeah, she said Joris.
Oh.
Yeah. So it might come down to just an accent kind of thing of people just perceiving other people talking as, the fallibility of communication by language. But
okay. Yeah.
But also, I mean, they don't know that it's a clone, and we only see him referred to by his clone name by those who know, like Thrawn and Pallaeon.
Yeah.
So they're referring to the original in their discussions.
Yeah.
And so I do think there probably is a pronunciation difference. We just, our main heroes just haven't had the opportunity to use it in that context yet.
Does anyone have any more thoughts?
I'm interested to see how the fake Leia voice plan works out.
Yeah.
See how well 3PO can imitate her.
Yeah, it was kind of nice having all the threads come together here.
Yeah.
And now they're diverging again. I hope that instead of having 5 different plot threads, that card will be added to
Yes,
this
please,
in a meaningful way.
please. Yeah. I don't want
Make it a
another
little bit more
nothing
than-
burger scene.
This has been the Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussion, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we'll be waiting for you in the next transmission. We would be honored if you would join us.